Hi guys, this is Daniel Hutchins, and today we're doing a Spider-Man Dan video. As you see, I'm wearing my Spider-Man hat, and we're doing an article from Cinema Blend about the Suicide Squad. Okay, so the Suicide Squad underwhelms at the box office, and it's a real bummer. This was from today. Let's be blunt, this past weekend was a serious bummer for the box office. James Gunn's Suicide Squad is the best blockbuster we've seen released this summer, replete from their fantastic adventure and phenomenal ensemble characters. And buzz has been building up for weeks. But now that the numbers are in, they're disappointed. The DC film did manage to become the latest feature to earn the title #1 movie in North America, but the ticket sales don't properly represent the quality of the movie. And there is now a lot of rumination going on in the industry figuring out why that was. You can check out a full top 10 below and join me after for analysis. So there's the top 10 list right here for this weekend. It was Suicide Squad's #1, making about 26,500,000. Jungle Cruise made about 65,317,454. The movie Old made about 38,523,145. Black Widow made about 174,358,784. Stillwater made $10,070. Green Knight made about 12,167,727. Space Jam: A New Legacy made about 65,735,781. Snake Eyes G.I. Joe Origins made about 26,001,972. Escape Room 2 made about 23,040,370. And Fast and Furious 9 made about 171,034,145. So those are the top 10 movies of this weekend. So, given that the Suicide Squad was made the reported budget of $185 million, according to Variety, these results are, as we know, not ideal. And not to be a dead horse, but they look particularly bad compared to what the David Ayer Suicide Squad did back in 2016. The critically rejected and subsequently disowned film made about $133.7 million in this first 3 days. Of course, there are a number of factors that the new release had to deal with its predecessor, didn't both externally and as part of the studio's distribution strategy. The big and unignorable element to play is the ongoing pandemic. COVID-19 numbers were going down a month ago, allowing for record-breaking hits like F9 and Black Widow, but the surge of the Delta variant has changed the national outlook and is making a bigger impact on our daily lives. It's a little surprised that movie-going activity would be affected, and it seems to be represented in box office figures for the Suicide Squad. That external uncontrollable influence very much intersects with the other major one in play, the film's availability via streaming. Like all the other titles on Warner Bros. Slate in 2021, The Suicide Squad has been released in theaters and on HBO Max simultaneously with the film hitting the subscription service through a 31-day engagement starting at 7 p.m. Pacific Time last Thursday. As has been discussed at length in previous installments of this box office column, the allure of the format's convenience is always going to be powerful, even with blockbusters best seen on the biggest screen possible. But that convenience is only more appealing to the country's issues with COVID continuing. Unfortunately, we don't have a clear sense of precisely what kind of draw the Suicide Squad had digitally because Warner Bros. Has now released those numbers, which isn't exactly atypical. In the last few weeks, Disney's publicly released the opening weekend Disney Plus earnings for Black Widow and Jungle Cruise. But those titles are available for a premium price. Premier access on the service costs $30. The new releases on HBO Max are free to subscribers, so success has to be quantified by number of streams and the number of new subscribers loaded to service. And the studio has not announced either, having them especially in context of some of those other titles released this year would help us get a much better perspective on the performance of the James Gunn movie, but we're just left guessing instead. The Hollywood Reporter has a statement from HBO Max chief Andy Forssell who says that The Suicide Squad is the second most viewed film over an opening weekend on HBO Max in 2021. But we don't really know what that means by itself. According to the trade, Simon McQuad's Mortal Kombat is the number one title in specific category, and earned slightly less than the DC film in its first 3 days, with a total of $23.3 million. Okay, so in modesty, better news, Jungle Cruise, now in its second week, managed to do something that F9, Black Widow, and Malcolm D. Lee's Space Jam: A New Legacy couldn't do. Avoid a 60% weekend-to-weekend plummet. All three of those movies saw a crazy drop of 67% or more in their respective sophomore Friday to Sundays, but the venture film starring Dwayne Johnson and Emily Blunt successfully fared better. It still fell a not-so-super great 55%, but a smaller drop is a smaller drop, which is exactly why I was able to pull off this feat, especially while being able and available via Disney Plus and being just for a family friendly as the Space Jam sequel is unclear, but the performance will have us closely watching it through August to see what kind of legs it is able to grow. What the solid angle for Jungle Cruise is the box office report, however, does not look great for David Lowery's The Green Knight. The new film from A24 received laudatory reviews and had a solid opening that saw it earn $6.8 million, one of the best among releases from the studio, but it fell a few rungs down the ladder in terms of rank in top 10, and 62% weekend to weekend, with a reported budget of $15 million. It still has a distance to go before it becomes profitable on paper, so we'll see if it can hold on through August before eventually going to digital. Last thing of our note is that this may be our last weekend seeing F9 in the domestic top 10. The blockbuster has now fallen from 8th place to 10th place. It's still earning 9 figures in ticket sales and has more than $170 million thus far in North America. Worldwide, it has made $661.4 million, making it the 5th highest grossing title in the Fast and Furious franchise, having the $630.2 million made from Justin Lee's Fast 5 in 2011. Looking ahead to next week, theaters will be seeing 3 new wide releases arriving including Sean Levy's Free Guy with Ryan Reynolds. The horror sequel we know is Don't Breathe 2. And the Aretha Franklin biopic Respect. Next Sunday, I'll be back analyzing performance of all three as well as the rest of Top 10. So be sure to head back to the Cinema Blend then. Okay, so there you go, guys. That is just a little bit of some information about the Suicide Squad, how it performed this weekend, how it performed and how other movies performed. And if you guys like this content, please hit that thumbs up button, y'all, and have a wonderful night. Bye.